All
Okay.
right. My next question for you. Another one that comes up with our families, and I have seen this many, many times in my own house with my own children. Sharing, Delaney, sharing. So hard. The
So hard.
concept, the doing, the everything. How can we make like sharing? Because every single teacher,
Mhm.
every preschool, every play date, like sharing is such a big issue.
Mhm.
What's going on here?
Yeah. Um, yeah, sharing is hard. Sharing, I mean, it can look a lot of different ways too. It can look like a kid that's having a hard time taking turns, a hard time actually sharing their toys, or just a hard time playing collaboratively with a kid, with another kid using the same toy. Um,
Right,
and
right.
sharing is so hard because it really requires you to take on another person's perspective and understand that they want to have a turn with that toy or that game or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And it requires a little bit of response inhibition, at least in the short term. So the ability to not just grab the toy right out of someone else's hand or grab the toy back after you've attempted to share it with someone. And both of those skills are really, really difficult.
Yeah, or cutting somebody, cutting in front of the line to go down the slide again after you just
Mhm.
finished. That
Mhm.
kind of stuff. Okay, I'm following you. Yeah, it's
Yep.
really hard for these guys.
Mhm.
So what might be at play here for them that's making it that much harder?
Yeah. So there is those two pieces of the taking on someone's perspective and that response inhibition. And on top of that, there is actually a developmental progression of sharing. And so we start developmentally learning how to trade. So trading equal things with someone else, which means that you give away the thing you're getting, but you immediately get something that's equally as awesome in response. And so that's kind of the first lowest developmental level of sharing.
But when you were describing that, I had an image of like when my kids were really small, they were like toddler kind of ages, and when they were in a high chair and they would reach out with their little cracker for me, and I would reach out with my a cracker for them, and we'd feed each other. And I was
Mhm.
thinking like, oh, that must have been kind of like that trade.
Right,
They were still getting something they liked and giving away something they
right.
loved. Okay, I'm with you.
Exactly.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, trading.
So then after trading, the next kind of developmental stepping stone is taking turns or turn taking. So that's when we're both going for the same thing. We both want to turn on the slide, and we need to inhibit our response to get on the slide. But the key element that makes turn taking a little bit easier developmentally than sharing is that you end up getting the thing back afterwards, or you end up getting to go down the slide after you waited for it. So it's really
Okay.
that response inhibition while it's not my turn, and then hooray, I get to go down the slide. And it is my turn, and that's awesome. So
Okay.
that's kind of the next step. And
Trading
then
and turn taking. All right. I'm
yep.
with you.
And then finally is sharing. So this is when you're giving up something and you're not really getting anything in return. You're saying, you can play with my toy. I'll just sit here and watch, or have to come up with a new idea. And that sharing is kind of the big kahoni. This one's the hard one for kids.
Yeah, I can see like now that you've laid it out developmentally, I can actually like, I get it. I could see how you work up to being able to
Mhm.
share. And I think as a parent, we want them to start sharing right
Right,
away.
right,
Yeah, but like when you put it that way, like, well, why would you want to? What are you getting in return for it
right.
if you're not ready to come up with your own idea or find somebody to take up that space?
Mhm,
That makes total sense.
mhm.
Okay. Okay, cool.